What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Mastercrafted for this week's edition of Mind Over Meta. Phil, how you doing today?
Great. I'm feeling I'm getting the juices flowing. I played 5 games of 40K this past weekend, and I have a few more games planned this weekend, and we're ripping out as many games as possible. Because I'm going to come up and see Lane in Wyoming. I'm super looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, it's going to be great. We got a good RTT coming up. Going to be giving away a couple tickets to the GT for July, but, we'll see who gets lucky enough to win one of those. All right, well, let's dive right in. Let's talk about these stats. Who's winning this week, Phil? Who is topping the charts at the highest win rates for this week?
Well, once again, no surprises here. It's my golden boys, the Adeptus Custodes. Who would have thought? +1 to wound and +1 to hit, army-wide, for an army that is basically strength 7 all the time is pretty good. And then you add a 2-up, 4-up with a 4-up Feel No Pain, also pretty good.
Yeah, they seem to have found that Meta Menace throne we had predicted them to land in when they first dropped, because they are doing well. They had a 54% win rate this week, 6 X and O X and 1s, and 1 event win out of 28 players. So doing very strong. One of the highest win rates for the week. The only other one was Leagues of Votann, staying in there steady. They had 4 X and O X and 1s, but they did not manage any wins this week.
Yeah, we talked a lot, actually, about Leagues of Votann in terms of teams practice and stuff like that. And we have said over and over again, yes, they don't necessarily always dominate wins into a lot of matchups. They do really well, and they score well. So seeing them go X and O, X and 1 is not a surprise. But next up, I think these are next up. Yeah, okay, fine. It's a surprise here. They've gotten in, they've improved, but I will say that these two armies are vastly different. One has been consistently good, and one has now found their way into the top of the meta. Chaos Demons and Sisters of Battle, both at 53%. One of which has been in the dregs for weeks after they kind of got nerfed into oblivion and started paying for their sins. And Chaos Demons have been riding high since Shadow Legions, since Legions of Excess. They've been playing really well, and they have a good win rate. Both of those are drastically different armies and doing really well in the meta. Sisters of Battle, and we're going to go over the list, even got an event win.
Yeah, good for them. Really, just bringing it back, doing what no one thought was possible. They definitely have improved. The changes of the last data slate have definitely helped. And then, keeping it running right on down, no surprise, Imperial Knights, 52, no wins, but they had 7 X and O X and 1s. That is very good. That is a very solid percentage out of their 30 players able to make it to those top tables, doing well.
Yeah, but no event wins, though. 7 X and O X and 1s, not a single event win.
Yeah, and who would have thought Noble Lance got them all? Crazy.
Yeah. Well, next up, Lane, we'll do these 5 together because they're all within 1% of each other. They're 51 or 50%. It's Grey Knights, Orcs, Tyranids, Chaos Knights, and Emperor Children. The last 3 are at 50%. Grey Knights and Orcs are at 51. And out of all of those, the only individuals with event wins were Chaos Knights and Grey Knights, each with 1. Obviously, Chaos Knights, Traitoris Lance, the Grey Knights, that was Warpbane Task Force. So both of those doing really, I would say, well for what they've struggled with in the past. So both of those getting event wins is awesome. At a 50% win rate, which is good as well. All the others, I think, fall into that line of very, very good armies, right? Like Emperor's Children are solid. And obviously, we've now seen them in the meta for 3 weeks. And them being relatively high up is good. Chaos Knights, that's stat check. If you can kill 13 dogs, congratulations. If you can't, it's going to get to a really rough game. And then Tyranids and Orcs are those scoring armies that we've talked about in teams practice. Like, they are very solid. And Warhorde is still very, very good.
Yeah, definitely still worth running Orcs if you have them because, man, they are still gross. One turn of the Wa is still a pain in the ass. It doesn't matter if you can delete everything in one shooting activation, you're still Orcs. Yeah. Moving on down, though, the biggest surprise, kind of some of these from 47 to 45%. Eldar dropping below 50% on their win rate to 47. I think that's the first time we have seen that. But don't worry, Ynnari was still 57 all on their own. So if you're playing anything else, They're the reason that the win rate is sinking. Just play the broken stuff. No, oh man. They're with them though at 45%, and the other 47 are Necrons, and then Space Marines are the 45. So they're still doing okay. The Space Marines were able to get an event win. Same with Ynnari getting one, doing okay, but they are under 50% on their win rates. So they are not doing average right now, but they're close.
Would you say that Space Marines and Eldari are at the same level of Necrons, like in terms of like army capabilities?
So I think Necrons, just because of their tanky bullshit, are generally just more consistent. They're going to float around that 50% as just a player base, but the skill expression needed for Ynnari and for Space Marines, like if you throw anything away with Space Marines, you just start losing. But I do think Eldar by far are the toughest of those to play against still, and then it's Space Marines, especially if you're running into, Ultramarines with double oath. They just still are pretty gross.
Yeah, and you combine that with they now, for some reason, have the most access to Vect for an army in a game. Like, they can cover the entire midboard with just Vectoras. And from someone that's played against it multiple times, it is not fun. I do not enjoy that.
Yeah, it is a pain in the ass. But, there's still plenty of other fun ways to be playing your Space Marines. Go out there, have some fun playing your Iron Fist, whatever list, and, you'll have a great time. That's the important thing. Having a good time playing this hobby. Speaking of those who have been having a great time playing 40K, we got Tau up next. They have just been stomping over everybody lately, Phil, isn't that right? And they even get an event win and only one X and O that went along with it this last week, and that is Tau getting event win, though. Hot damn. Look at them go.
John and Matt would be so proud to see that their Xenos friends getting up there and getting a win, so that's great. They did it with Kroot Hunting Pack.
Yeah, the underdog of the week, earning its rightful name with the Kroot Hunting Pack.
Yes, no, there's no doubts there. We'll shout them out here in a second, but definitely deserved. Gene Stealer Cult are up next. They have a 44% win rate. They got event win. It was with Host of Ascension. No surprises there. 3X and 0X and 1s, followed by Death Guard, Asher Militarum, who both got event wins. And then Chaos Space Marines, Death Watch. I could just run down the list. Black Templars, Add Back. Now we're in the 43%. Space Wolves, they actually got an event win, and we're going to be going over their list because it does have some very interesting aspects to it. And as we've talked about before, we're going to see that player number rise because everyone's going to get excited for their new shiny Space Wolf toys. And then at the very bottom, Drakari, World Eaters, Dark Angels, Blood Angels, and T-Suns. Thank goodness T-Suns are at the bottom because I have a sneaking suspicion, Lane. They might be skyrocketing to the top very, very soon.
Yeah, they might be getting very good, but who knows? If it's anything to go off the last couple codexes, I wouldn't be too worried. Reddit told me they're trash, so probably nothing to worry about there. One of the other big surprises, though, what detachment got the win for Death Guard, Phil? What did it?
All right, well, I don't want to admit this because it hurts me a little bit, but Shamblerot Victorium, the stupid Poxwalker detachment, the detachment that I said will never ever win a GT, technically, they won a GT. Now, I will give them their credit. You won a GT with 22 players, and I said it couldn't happen. You proved me wrong, so I guess you proved me wrong. So if you ever come find me at a tournament, I have a nice set of dice just for you, but you got to come find me. So you got to come down to Denver or LVO or one of these big tournaments so you can come hunt me down. Yeah. For a set of dice.
Yep, and you got to bring Shamblerot. That's the other thing. You
gotta
come play it. Okay, load up your Ziploc bags of Poxwalkers. Bring them on down. We're ready for you.
Yeah, I'm glad you got the win. I'm glad you got it done early because I don't know how long that's going to last, but you got the win.
Got the win. That is the important thing. Alrighty, well, we have talked about where everybody's sitting on the win rates and who got some wins. Let's start going over some of those lists. Who are we going to be talking about first this week, Phil?
Well, we got some really nice ones to pick from. But I think the first one we need to start with is our sisters. So Jordan McGregor in the Down Under 40K GT, he went undefeated with sisters with Hallowed Martyrs. So 2,000 points right on the nose. And I'll just run right through the list. I do like the list name. I think That's super important for those that are taking their time for crafting the perfect list. If you don't craft the perfect name, you're not going to be as successful. New meta, new crimes for our sisters here with Hallowed Martyrs. So we got 2 Canonesses, one with Saintly Example, one with Mantle of Ophelia, and then 3 Hospitallers, Morbid Vol, which honestly at this day and age you just can't leave home without. She's just too good. 2 Rhinos, 2 10-mans of Arcoflagellants, triple Castigator, that's has been good. And it is very, very solid in terms of a shooting base. 3 full squads of Sacrosants. So our shield-bearing sisters, and a 3-mana Paragon Warsuits for Morbid Vol to hop in and to kind of escort her around. This is a very similar list to Hallowed Martyrs we've seen in the past. So for me, it stands out that little rules change for the strat in terms of them standing back up, and then their miracle dice in terms of how many they can get now makes a huge difference for making this army effective. Is there anything for you, Lane, that stands out in this?
I haven't had the fortune of playing sisters in quite some time. Generally, this seems like you were saying a very standard list. Thankfully, for me, I don't really fear the sisters matchup too much. I put Dorns out even when they had what was Bringers of Flame was the go-to detachment. You got the extra strength, all that other stuff. You just were still wounding Dorns on 5s, and so there's just nothing that was super efficient into my tanks. So I could generally just win the trade war as they tried to deal with those. But in general, this is a very solid list. I think it's going to handle most things very well. Anything you would really be looking to do if you saw your Custodes coming up against this?
So those Castigators are pretty scary. And a good player is not going to push those out in any kind of way that's going to allow me to get after them with the Wardens. Really, it's going to be the Caladiuses that trade well into those and try to pick them up when they do come out. The most important thing is having multiple rounds of combats, because they're still T3 bodies at the end of the day, right? They're not that tough. They're not going to be able to stand up to Warden combat. The person that's going to hurt the most is Morbid Vol, because she is so incredibly tough and she stands back up. So all of those things make like a huge difference. And then you have a strat for them standing back up. So as a whole, it's just that recursion, and I just can't let them auto-see me on objectives when they stand back up. I can't allow Morbid Vol to, like, if the unit comes out, I got to be able to shoot, kill, and then charge. That way I finish that unit off completely versus it standing back up multiple times. That would be quite annoying.
Yeah. Morbid Vol is definitely, anytime that her rules are good, you have to take her. And it's nice to see that Hallowed Martyr does have some extra support. Bringing her back is very nice.
Yes, very much so. But congratulations, Jordan. You are the first person to go undefeated since the Sisters of Battle changed. So I'm excited to see them hit the board more and more often, and I think we will.
Alrighty. Who do you want to talk about next? The Wolves or the Grey Knights?
Let's do Grey Knights.
Hell yeah.
I've had a lot of people like be a little downtrodden on the Grey Knights and what they can do. I'm a firm believer that mobility wins games, and yes, Warpaint Task Force is a little bit less mobile than the Index Attachment, but it is a whole lot more lethal. So, Lane, you want to run us through this list?
Yeah, no problem. All right. So, for the Warpaint Task Force, 3 Grandmaster Dread Knights in Grandmasters in Dread Knight armor, I should say. A Strike Squad, 2 of them, actually. And 3 Interceptor Squads. A unit of 4 Servitors, and then 3 more Dread Knights and 1 Grey Knights Rhino. So, 6 Dread Knights making their way back on the table. How does that make you feel? You ever enjoy looking across the table and being like, I need to deal with those at some point?
Yeah, it hurts a little bit because they're not necessarily the toughest thing in the world, right? Like they can die. It's not like they have crazy feel no pains or anything like that. They don't have reduction in damage, but they are tough. They are big bodies, and each one has a obnoxious amount of shooting in combat. So, like, they're mobile enough that they can get into things, and each one is capable of like punching up and punching down into a lot of targets. So, if you don't have the board presence, because custodians don't necessarily always have that, it can really hurt. So, Yeah, I think this is 6 Dread Knights, I think is the way to go. Honestly, if I were to run Grey Knights, it would be 3 Grandmasters, 3 of the regular ones, and just fill in with all the other good stuff. Which it seems that he's done.
Yep. Yeah, triple Inceptor and double strike. A fair amount of just cheaper for Grey Knights, cheaper trading units. You know, yeah, does what you needed to. It's going to try to really knock out all the important targets with those Grandmasters and regular Dread Knights throughout the game, and just lethal is the word you used. I would definitely agree with that for that list.
Would you ever bring Bring It Down into this list? That's 7 vehicles.
7 vehicles. They have 12 wounds, so they're all only worth 2 points.
Correct.
I don't think so. I don't. If they tipped the scale, like if the Grandmasters or even the regulars, if even it wouldn't make sense. But if something had enough wounds to put it into that mid range where it's worth 4 on the Bring It Down, then maybe. But I mean, you're capping out killing all of them at 14 points of secondary for Bring It Down, and if you go with Assassination to pair with it, like that's 15. Like that's just. It just doesn't feel good.
I would love for Fixed to be a little better, but you are right. It is a trap. Do not take Fixed into this list. Like, you may look at it and be like, oh, they have all vehicles. I could take Fixed. Lane did the right thing by doing the math and just being like, this actually is not mathematically a good thing to do. There are better options in terms of just playing the game.
Yep. Yeah. Gotta love it though. It's always cool to see 6 Dread Knights on the board. That's always when people make it and they commit to it. Luke from here, local, playing for MHM, he's got his, is it Power Ranger painted helmets and stuff that they all like. I'm always happy to see some baby carriers on board. I'm sure the sticker on your back window too. Just let people know you're a Grey Knights player. Baby carrier on board. Really commit to the bit, dude. Last but not least, good old Space Wolves, and they were in Champions of Rust. What were they running this time, Phil?
So, we don't see Champions of Rust very often, and honestly, I haven't seen Space Wolves in a while here in Denver because a lot of those Wolves players have moved off onto their Smurf brethren, which is, you're pretty much a trader now, going from Ultramarines to Space Wolves, or from Space Wolves to Ultramarines. But we got an Ancient Terminator armor, Captain, Librarian, Logan Grimnar, which I'm just going to shout it out right now. That new Logan model might be the most sick model I've ever seen. Like, that thing is so freaking cool. So I can't wait to see that all painted up. It's going to look so cool. Murderfang and Ragnar Blackmane. 2 5-mans of Assault Intercessors. Not the jump packs, just Assault Intercessors. A squad of Blood Claws. And that is a full squad. So that's a 20-man. Yes. Oh,
gross.
My goodness, that's a lot of bodies. An Intercessor squad, a 5-man. 2 squads of the Hounds of Mordkai, Invader ATVs, 2 of them, with multi-meltas, a Land Raider Crusader, which I assume is... Okay, alright, I don't know. Yep, for these Terminator Assault squads, a 10-man, Thunderhammer Storm Shield, and X Lightning Claws, and then a squad of Scouts.
Gotcha. All right, this really is just a different version of mid-board presence than the classic Wolf Cav. Throw in 10 Terminators and a Land Raider, I assume, and just yeeting it up the board, saying, pop me, I dare you, and then we're going to run at you with a 20 mana Blood Claws, probably trailing close behind, I assume.
I would assume. Lane, I'm sorry. This list confuses me.
I mean, it's going to fight over primary exceptionally well. The 2 units of Assault Intercessors have full reroll wounds on objectives. You'll be able to put the captain with one of them. You probably are putting Ragnar with the other. They'll go trade fairly well. The Blood Claws are just going to have that mob mentality, a lot of OC, and go pick a fight probably around the same time the Terminators do. And you're just going to say, try to eat me. I dare you. And I think that is probably the way this list is played. You just really, play hard on the primary. You've got enough other things that can do scoring well between the ATVs and the Scout Squad. You're also probably throwing a Murderfang up in the mix about the same time. How well can people deal with a Dreadnought, a 10-man Terminator, and a 20-man Marine squad? is a reasonable question.
Yeah, I get the part of it does score well. It's a lot of 5-mans. Like, actually an obnoxious amount of 5-mans, because you have the 2 squads of assault intercessors, you have the intercessors, which are holding your home because they could just sticky it, the ATVs, which do have the reactionary shoot after you shoot something else, so get a couple cheeky meltas in there. Your scouts are infiltrating and screening, so I get the value there. And just Terminators I love them. Like, my Terminator's my favorite models. Like, it's one of the coolest models in 40k. It's so iconic, and like, I think it's really, really solid. But I guess in terms of delivering them, Land Raider is the safest, especially if you're going to spend all those points on getting a 10-man with a banner, which increases their OC. So they are incredibly tough. They have AP -1 in that detachment for armor contempt. You can give them Lance, and then AP by 1. Okay, all right. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah. And this was from a 22-player event out of Illinois. Is
Okay.
where we got this dub from.
All right. And Lane, we already hinted at it. Our underdog of the week, taking Kroot Hunting Pack like an absolute maniac, Drew Salzborn at the Midgard May 40k Grand Tournament, getting the event win called Harambe's Revenge.
I bet he had a lot of Rampagers in this list. I have yet to look at this list, but
what's
if
your
I
guess?
was a betting
How many Rampagers do you think?
I'm gonna go with a conservative 15. Just a nice 15.
Okay. Shadow Sun, Squad of Carnivores, 1, 2, 3, triple Hammerhead, spicy. 6 Krootox Rampagers, 6 Krootox Rampagers, 6 Krootox Rampagers. We're at 18. And then
damn,
3x3 Krootox Riders, 2 Skyrays, 3 Skyrays, triple stealth suits. Oh my goodness. What a bunch. What a maniac. What an absolute maniac. Drew, congratulations. You are definitely the underdog of the week, taking Kroot Hunting Pack and getting a tournament win. So congratulations.
Yeah. Against all odds and statistics, out here doing the greater goods work and getting that dub for the Tau. Dude, well done, Drew. And congratulations again, man. All right. Well, I think that is it for this week in Mind Over Meta. Phil, any final thoughts after this week's results?
The more and more we see, like, Emperor's Children has now finally gotten fully inundated. World Leaders and Death Guard have not. So do not take this as a caveat towards like the success of those attachments. But after this weekend, we will see where they're at. We will see what the Death Guard and World Leaders are all about, because I think we're going to see them played rather a lot. I know I'm taking Death Guard this weekend just for some fun. I needed a little break from my shiny boys. Don't worry. They're still there. I've gotten plenty of games in with them, but I like a little variety in my life. So we're bringing the Death Guard up to lane up in Wyoming. So we're looking forward to that. Overall, I think the meta is actually incredibly healthy right now. We're seeing event wins from all over the place. Ari, I still think, is very, very good, and in the hands of a good player can just be debilitating. But there are tools in the meta that will continue to knock them down. For Children being one of them, World Leaders being another one, CSM Bile being another one, Chaos Knights. I've seen that matchup played multiple times, and Chaos Knights loves to just chew up an Ari with those Havoc launchers. So there's play into it.
Kroot Hunting Pack, right? They're just going to run at you. Those Rampagers.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we figured out the secret tech. Tau Kroot Hunting Pack beats an Ari 100% of the time. Don't at me.
Awesome. Alrighty. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell us what you brought this last week. And do not forget, victory isn't given, it's forged, and it's forged right here on Mastercrafted. See you.
Have a great night, guys.